In January 2004, the tranquil community of Carter County, Kentucky, was rocked by the disappearance and subsequent murder of Gary and Cheryl Young. This case, marked by deceit, betrayal, and brutal violence, culminated in the arrest of their son, Andrew Young, and his girlfriend, Stephanie Griffith. The following video delves into the intricate details of the investigation, the lives of the victims, the motives behind the crime, and the judicial outcomes for the perpetrators. Born and raised in Kentucky, Gary Lynn Young was brought into the world on September 9, 1957. He grew up with 3 siblings. Apart from attending the Catlettsburg Church of God, Gary also became a member of the Willard Lodge No. 626 in Willard, Kentucky, as well as of the American Quarter Horse Society. Moreover, he made a living as a boilermaker out of Elizabethtown in Kentucky. As for Cheryl Keaton Young, she also took birth in Kentucky on August 9, 1959. She grew up in a house full of people as she had 6 sisters and 1 brother. Much like Gary, she too attended the Catlettsburg Church of God and was a member of the American Quarter Horse Society, which is where the two seemingly got connected and got closer with time. Professionally, she had the job of an assignment specialist with Alltel Communications. The Youngs were reported missing in early January 2004 after failing to show up for work and not being seen by their relatives for several days. Concerned family members contacted the authorities, prompting a search that would span nearly a month. The initial investigation yielded few clues, leaving the community in a state of anxiety and confusion. The investigation into the disappearance of Gary and Cheryl Young took a grim turn when authorities discovered a bloody crime scene at the couple's home in January 2004. The gruesome evidence suggested a violent encounter, but the absence of bodies left investigators with more questions than answers. The blood-spattered scene indicated that a serious crime had occurred, but without the victim's remains, detectives faced significant challenges in piecing together the events that had transpired. As the search for Gary and Cheryl Young intensified, investigators made a crucial discovery when they located the couple's abandoned car. The police wanted to contact Andrew Young, the Gary's unique child, but didn't find him either. He was missing for several days, which raised more questions. As the investigation progressed, detectives uncovered a trail of suspicious financial activity linked to the missing couple. Records showed that Gary Young's bank cards and checks had been used fraudulently in the days following their disappearance. This financial trail became a crucial element in the case, providing investigators with tangible evidence of criminal activity and potential leads to follow. The fraudulent activity wasn't limited to credit card use. Kentucky State Police reported that a check belonging to Gary and Cheryl Young had been cashed at a Staples office supplies store in Lexington on January 18th, just days after their disappearance. This transaction, along with other unauthorized purchases detected in Gary's name in another state, raised suspicions about whether Gary was somehow involved or if someone else had assumed his identity. One of the most significant breakthroughs in the case came when police obtained surveillance footage showing Andrew Young, the victim's son, using his father's credit card at various stores. This visual evidence directly linked Andrew to the fraudulent use of his parents' financial instruments. A few days later, Stephanie Griffith was arrested at a bank while attempting to use one of the stolen bank cards. This arrest provided critical evidence linking her to the financial fraud and further solidified her involvement in the kidnappings. Following her arrest, Griffith cooperated with law enforcement, providing crucial information that ultimately led to Andrew's apprehension. Andrew was then arrested at an apartment complex in Meade County, Kentucky. The authorities then received a call from him who came out clear and told them the whereabouts of the dead bodies. The 22-year-old Andrew helped the police end the nearly month-long search for his parents by letting his attorney know that he wanted to come clean about his misdeeds. On February 7, 2004, Andrew led authorities to an abandoned area known as the Mushroom Mines near Lawton, Kentucky, where the bodies of Gary and Cheryl Young were discovered. Both had been killed by multiple gunshot wounds, a discovery that shocked the investigators and the community alike. As the investigation progressed, it became clear that financial motives played a significant role in the murders. Andrew Young had been experiencing financial difficulties and saw his parents' assets as a potential solution. The couple's bank cards and checks were found to have been used fraudulently, further implicating Andrew and Stephanie in a scheme to benefit financially from the deaths of Gary and Cheryl. Stephanie Griffith's involvement in the crime was substantial. Records indicate that she assisted Andrew in gaining access to his parents' home and played a crucial role in the execution of the murders. Her actions were not merely those of an accomplice, but of an active participant in the planning and execution of the crime. Andrew Young appeared in Carter County District Court on February 9, 2004. Faced with overwhelming evidence, he agreed to plead guilty to the charges of murder and burglary in exchange for avoiding the death penalty. His plea was accepted, and in July 2004, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Stephanie Griffith's trial followed a similar trajectory. In January 2006, she pleaded guilty to first-degree burglary and to counts of criminal facilitation to commit murder. Under the terms of her plea agreement, she received a sentence of 10 years for the facilitation charges and an additional 10 years for complicity. She had her first hearing in December 2007, where she was denied parole and decided that she wouldn't be eligible before December 2015. Her eligibility was further postponed until 2016. She has been released from prison lives under a new identity. The murder of Gary and Cheryl Young is a harrowing tale of familial betrayal and greed. The investigation, marked by meticulous police work and the eventual confessions of the perpetrators, brought some measure of justice to the victims and their loved ones. Andrew Young and Stephanie Griffith's actions not only ended the lives of two beloved individuals, but also left a permanent scar on their community. This case serves as a stark reminder of the potential for darkness within even the closest of familial relationships and the devastating consequences that can ensue.